Okay, so a long time ago, in a summer far, far away, me and a completely different Ghastly Town lineup were basically scammed. This was like in 2014. Me and all the other guys were basically just a bunch of children, really. And we wanted to do an EP. And this almost, I guess, 40-year-old guy told us he would do it. He would make our EP sound super sick, just like the albums we listened to, and you know, all that good stuff. We were like, that's awesome. That sounds like a great idea. And we went to his studio, and he had like tens of thousands invested there. A lot of money invested in that place. And he had like all the good stuff, all the best cabs, mics, preamps, the best 4x12. He had 2 rooms, all acoustically treated. You know, just good stuff. And he started showing us tracks that he had supposedly produced, right? It wasn't until a long time after that I actually realized most of those were not even his tracks. He made us pay a small fortune for the EP, and I mean, looking back, it wasn't really a fortune, but you know, for kids like us back then, it was a lot of money. I mean, it was all of our money, actually. I just remember sleeping on the floor for months at our former bassist's place, and I mean, it was just hell for me anyway. There's actually this story that you're probably not gonna believe, but it's 100% true, and it only comes to show like how broke we really were and how much everyone sacrificed for that shitty EP to happen. So our singer at the time had literally no money. He put stuff for sale like on the internet, even stuff that wasn't necessarily his.
Man, like, that story is actually like pretty fucking crazy.
He had these like 2 bicycles that were like his parents or his brothers or something, and these were like really expensive bicycles, right? And he put those for sale, and someone wanted to buy both, and he was like, shit, like now I gotta steal from my own family. So what he did was he leaves in the morning, just like any normal day. He says bye, have a good day to his family like he normally does, and he just drives down the road in his car, just like any normal day. What he does differently though that day is that he pulls up his car a little bit further down the road. He just pulls up and he runs back home, sneaking. He grabs the bikes from the garage, not letting anyone see him. He goes back to the car, stashes the bikes in the car, and it just drives away. Later that day, he actually sold the bikes to a guy. Arrives back home, at the end of the day, his whole family is freaking out, like, Miguel, You won't believe what just happened. Someone got inside the garage and stole our extremely expensive bicycles. And I mean, he was like, no, really? And this is totally wrong. Like, I should say, I don't condone actions like these at all. And actually, I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story, because it's been so long at this point. But still, it is pretty fucking funny. And this is how he got his part of the money to pay for the EP. It's just pretty sad that it all ended up being a big scam. You know, this producer, even with all this money invested in gear, he had no fucking clue what he was doing.
The first EP was a bit unidimensional, you know. It was they had their formula, you know, of encapsulating those Avenged Sevenfold riffs and the leads. The instrumentals were kind of Bullet for My Valentine, and there were sprinkles here and there, you know, of the Danny Elfman. And that was the thing that, you know, captured my imagination. I'm a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas and Tim Burton stuff. Going after that type of, you know, aesthetic, I knew there was, you know, something special to grab from there.
Back then, those guys were like so inexperienced, and I think the EP quality overall really suffered from that, unfortunately.
He honestly treated us like shit for months. He tried to simplify every process as much as he could, you know, just so it wouldn't be too much work for him. And, you know, I think Mike, our singer at the time, really deserves a mention, because his talent was not respected by this scam producer guy. Because, you know, Mike was like us. He was going through his very first studio experience, and his vocal performances were just not well treated. I mean, they were in fact sort of ruined by these tools that this guy would use.
Not to, you know, say that the vocals on the EP, on their first EP, were bad. They weren't at all.
Pretty much no processing on the vocals. This guy, you know, didn't give a shit, and he just sucked. Mike's vocals were really put on this unfair spot, in my opinion. He literally only wanted his pay at the end of the day, and he knew he was dealing with kids. He just didn't fucking care. You know, that's the brutal truth of it. Sometime after that, there was this big breakup. It's all good now. We're all still really good friends, so it's okay. But let's just say I'm the only familiar face still around at this point.
Listening to the songs, I was like, Jesus, man. They had a really punkish, you know, attitude to them. But they were, at the same time, you know, you can clearly see the influence that, you know, Avenged and Metallica had in their songs. And I also heard a bit of, you know, My Chemical Romance and things like that. It was like a mixture of really nice sounds.
Okay, so what I think it's important to be aware of is that I wrote a vast majority of those songs when I was about 16 years old. Well, that EP is still out there. You can still listen to it. It's on Spotify. We won't reject that part of our history, because maybe the most important decision I made was, you know, thanks to what I learned from that whole scam thing. From that point on, you know, Ghastly Town produced, mixed, mastered every single piece of material independently. With an exception, the first Adria's Hive single, that was mixed by our really good friend João Medeiros, awesome YouTuber by the way. But again, that single got completely remixed to fit into our new album.
One thing that we came to a conclusion in, you know, our collective reflections was that the production of the band was one of the things that had to be revamped.
Knowing that we have a small budget, it was like all recorded and produced in Hugo's bedroom, actually. All of it. No studio, no fancy shit. It was all his bedroom.
You know, I decided I would learn how to do it, and I did it, for better or for worse. Medeiros was such a crucial part of, you know, me learning all this stuff in such a short amount of time.
The most recent productions were, in terms of mixing and mastering, all by Hugo. Minimal equipment, you know. It was my Steinberg UR12 and now the Technica 2020, and that was basically it. No fancy preamps or nothing. And the guitars were all, you know, amp sims.
In 2023, it's crazy, the evolution of audio produced in the bedroom. It's incredible how an artist can, with so little resources, can bring a vision to life. And that's exactly like what Hugo did with his music in general.
Everything we've been able to achieve is also due to all the fantastic people we've been honored to work with, from video directors, actors, artists, and all the friends and fans who have contributed in one way or another towards the still small things but proud things we've done so far.
Counting all around. Great example of that vision coming to life. The production difference of the old version versus the new version is really like astonishing.
Take me back, or I'll turn this white to black. Take me back, or I'll turn this white to black.
We are beyond used to, with little resources, to bring worlds and characters and stories to life. And it really like shows what really Ghastly Town is about. The only question is, how much can we do, and how smart can we be to create something so much bigger than ourselves?
We were doing this independently, so we didn't have, you know, any excuse or anything to limit ourselves artistically in terms of creativity.
You know, this approach has made wonders for us.
I mean, clearly before I came in, you know, Hugo had, you know, a vision for the project, and it was a vision that was really solidified, you know. I came to kind of realize that his vision, you know, was something that, you know, it was so set in stone, and I think that he hit the mark from the start, you know. By coincidence, you know, it really overlaps with my own vision for this kind of music. My mind was absolutely blown away by everything that I was seeing at that moment. I was like, this is it, this is the thing. And I didn't know that I would become part of that, you know, in the future.
Mid-show, there was this really important moment that I'll keep in my memory forever.
The prequel to me meeting, you know, Ghastly Town and everybody.
I was truly impressed. I was like, this guy has it in him. You know, I had finally found the guy.
And we really don't give a fuck, and we are gonna take everything by storm.